Ready to stop renting and finally get your own home? Imagine walking through the front door and knowing it's all yours. But wait, do you know the exact steps to get there without losing your mind or your money? I know that buying your first home can be very intimidating. Where to start? What do I got to do first? Trust me, I've been there. The endless paperwork, the financial stress, and the constant fear of making the wrong choice. I understand it can be all overwhelming. But stick with me, and in this video, I'm going to break down all the steps you need to do to be able to buy your first home. Hey everybody, I'm Jerry Norman with Oregon Life Homes. I'm outside today holding an open house, and we are a long ways from town. So I thought I'd shoot this video and teach you guys what your first steps are to buy your first home. So let's get on with the video. So first off, as a buyer, the first thing you're going to need to do is get pre-approved for your home loan. Now you're going to have to talk to a lender, and that will go on to the next step to find your real estate agent. I have a bunch of preferred lenders that I work with, so you can get in touch with me first, and I can definitely get you on that track. And if not, you can always talk to your bank, credit unions, and get you going in that first step. So what is a pre-approval? Your lender is going to determine what your loan to value is, your credit rating, and then you're going to need to provide financial documents, tax statements, pay stubs, and this will give your lender a clear picture of what they can lend you to buy your house. After the pre-approval, that lender will give you a max ceiling amount, the most you can spend on the home. And at that time, you don't have to spend that much. So figure out what your payments are going to be, talk to your lender, and they'll explain to you what your payments are going to be and where you're going to be comfortable with, because you don't want to be house poor. You want to be able to enjoy your home. And so then that goes on to the next step after the pre-approval. Find your real estate agent. You're going to want somebody that knows how to work with buyers, and especially first-time home buyers like yourself, that can explain the whole process to you and keep you up to date as to what's going on. You're going to want to have a real estate agent that's going to be communicative, pick up the phone or answer texts. Trust me, there's a lot of them out there that don't do that, but there's a lot of good real estate agents out there, and it's just who fits you best and how they're going to handle your situation. What to look out for a real estate agent? Well, you don't want an agent that's going to walk you through a home and want you to buy every home that you walk into. You're going to want somebody that really represents you. You want them to show you what is wrong with the house and what to expect through the escrow process. You want somebody that's knowledgeable about the area and the pricing in the area and how to get you the best deal for that home. You've got pre-approved, you found your real estate agent. The next step is the fun part, house hunting. The first thing you want to do when house hunting is stay realistic with your budget and with your criterias. Now, this being your first home, I've talked to a lot of first-time home buyers before, and they all want it to be their last home. Well, realistically, that's not going to happen, because with your budget and the amount of money that you're going to need to put down, you probably can't afford a home on 10 acres with a shop, 4 bedrooms. You want to be realistic about your expectations. What can you afford, and just really understand what is out there in your price range. And with it being your first home, understand that there could be a lot of potentials in a house that might look like a dog, but trust me, I've seen a lot of homes where they look rough from the outside, but with a little bit of love and a little bit of renovations, those homes can look spectacular and really get yourself some really good equity in the home and drive the value up in your home. So when you're touring homes, there's a couple of ways to do it. If you're out of area, you can get virtual tours, or if you're not available to see the home, you can do a virtual tour, or the most common way is a private tour. And then also you can stop by open houses. Now, the open houses are going to be a little bit more generalized because that agent isn't working with you. That agent that is holding that open house is working for the seller. So they're trying to sell the house and not trying to get you the best deal possible. So you can go to open houses, but if you're working with me, go to open houses. I welcome that. I'm more than happy to go with you, and just know that when you do visit the open houses, that you're not going to see everything, and you're probably going to want to schedule the private tour. So you found your home. You found the home that's going to fit you, right neighborhood, right size, fits most of the boxes, because let's be honest, most of your boxes aren't going to get checked. It's just going to be the needs, not the wants. So you found the home that you like, and you want to make an offer on it. Well, what's the next step? The next step is to creating the right offer that is appealing to the seller, that's going to get your offer accepted. And how we do that, first off, we need to determine how much money you need out of pocket. Typically, for an FHA loan, you're going to need about 3.5% down. and we're going to get onto that in a little bit. There's also closing costs involved as well, and those are 3 to 6% of the sales price of the home. Where I can save you money is trying to get the seller to pay those closing costs, and sometimes getting the sellers to pay a rate buy down as well. This can save you a lot of money in the long run, and it's a great way to get into that house for little out-of-pocket expenses. Also, to understand when making that offer, personal property. Personal property is not included in the sale of the home, so things like refrigerator, washer and dryer, chairs, basically the rule of thumb is anything not attached to the home is personal property. So if you walked into a home and you really like the dining room table, you can ask for that to be included in the sale, and the seller may sell it with the home or may not. It might be a sentimental value, but it all depends, and it's always worth asking. When we write the offer, we want to make that offer as appealing to the seller as possible. We want to get it as close to the sales price as possible. And if you're going to ask for closing costs, that is included in the sales price as well. You got to figure out how much the seller is going to walk away with from the sale, and if it will be appealing to them, and if that walkaway price is close to their asking price. So if it's a very competitive home, and we know there's a lot of people looking at it, and you do need the closing costs paid, well, we can go over the asking price and have them include the closing costs into the sales price to get it to that mark to where they're walking away with just about what they're asking for. That's a good way to win in a competitive market when needing your closing costs paid. Also, another thing that is helpful when writing an offer is, what does the seller need? Do they need a lot of time, or do they want to close it as soon as possible? These are all things that I will ask the other agent and try and get your offer the most appealing as possible to get you into that house that you want. And also, do they need time after closing to move and do like a rent back for a few days, couple weeks, a month? These are all things that we can strategize, and if it works for you, then we can work with the seller to make that happen. And typically when you're making an offer, the seller is going to give you a counter offer, and then that's when we get into negotiations. I always ask the buyers, if you don't accept this, are you going to be upset that you didn't take that offer or accept their counter offer? Because I'll tell you, it's happened to me, and there's nothing worse than a month later still looking for a home and thinking, boy, I wish I would have just accepted that $5,000 counter offer. But if you can't afford it, then it's nothing to worry about. So counter offers and negotiations is just how much you are willing to give. A lot of times both parties want to feel like a win, but it doesn't have to be. It's just coming together and making the closing happen. So number 5, offer accepted. What happens now? Well, first thing off is the earnest money deposit needs to be made, and that was discussed in the offer that you made. And typically it's about 1% of the sales price, and that goes towards the purchase of your home. It'll go towards your down payment or your closing costs, but that payment needs to be made, and it shows almost like good faith towards the sellers that you do have money involved and that you have intentions on buying the home. Now, there are certain times where you can get that earnest money back, and it's just paying attention to the timelines and the contingencies that are laid out in that offer. A good real estate agent will keep you updated on what those timelines are. Once the earnest money is made, then we need to do a buyer's inspection. And if it's on its own septic and water, then you also need to do a septic inspection and a well inspection as well. They're highly recommended. You do not want to buy a home without doing all your due diligence inspections. So the home inspection is the main one, and they go from top to bottom of the house and make sure everything is working and that there are no leaks and everything is working properly. After the home inspection is back, that report is yours. That home inspector works for you. That inspection is for you and your knowledge. And so now what you can do is take anything that is a concern for you as far as repairs go. We can negotiate with the seller to get those things taken care of before closing. A lot of times the sellers don't have the means to do it, so then we have to try and figure out how we can get everything worked out to where it works out for you and the seller as well. Or if it's too much, then you can just walk away and get that earnest money back, as long as it's within that buyer inspection period, which is typically about 10 to 12 business days. So you do have some time, and the inspectors, they're pretty quick at getting those reports back to us, so you can get that taken care of really quick. And the next thing in that due diligence process is the title reports. And what they do is they make sure that the seller is legally able to sell the property and that there's no liens on it, that somebody can come after you buy it, and just make sure it's completely clean and completely legal to sell the home, and that nobody's going to come after you. The other thing they're going to check is if you have any judgments. If you have a judgment, a lot of times child support comes up on those, and you just have to give a letter to the title company to make sure that everything's taken care of on that. So a lot of things come up in that period, and it's just really good to be on top of it and on task when those things do arise, and that way we can get those fixed to continue the process rolling. All right, number 6, the appraisal. So the appraisal is different than the home inspection. The home inspection is to make sure that everything is operable and functionable. The appraisal is the lender making sure that the house is at value. They're not going to lend you $500,000 on a home that's only worth $300,000. So they're just making sure that everything is at value and it's worth the risk for the bank to lend you the money. And then once that appraisal comes through, then that's when your lender is going to start finalizing your loan. After the appraisal is done, then we're pretty much through all the hoops in general, and then your loan will start being finalized. A lot of times the lender will start asking you for extra documents, more pay stubs, tax returns, and that kind of thing, just to make sure everything is on track. So once the loan is finalized, then the loan documents and everything start moving on to the title company. Now the title company is going to make sure everything is all balanced, who gets paid and how much, and they just balance everything out and make sure that everything is up to standard, basically crossing your I's, dotting your T's, just making sure everything is right and getting things straight for the closing process. Then they're going to schedule the closing day. So number 7, closing day. What happens on closing day? Well, closing day, you've either signed like the day before or previous, and that's when you've wired your closing funds, so your down payment and your closing costs, to the title company. Whatever you need to close, that's already been taken care of, and you've probably signed the day before closing or a couple days before or the day of closing sometimes. So the day of closing, what happens is the title company makes sure that the funds are in and cleared, and once they're cleared, then the title company will record it with the county, and once it's recorded with the county, they give me and the other agent a call, tell us that it's completely recorded and closed, and once that happens, then I give you a call and say, where would you like to meet for your keys? And we hand over the keys, and then the moving starts. So number 8, the last one, moving day. So you've got your keys, you've gone through all this hard work, it's all over with, but you got to start moving. Now, a couple days before closing, your agent would have reminded you to start scheduling the services, water, power, sewer, make sure everything is going to be in your name at the time of closing, because at the time of closing, the seller will probably have those shut off. And then it's time to move. So preparing for your move, you want to make sure that you have enough help and that kind of stuff. And then once all that's done, then you have a welcoming open house, and I'll buy the pizza. Now, if you're serious about starting to look for your new house or want to know how to get in that process, leave me a comment down below and I will ship you over my first-time home buyer's guide. It's packed with useful information to get you started. And if you have any other questions, leave a comment down below. I'd love to help you. And if you think that somebody else would benefit from this video or my buyer's package, feel free to share this video with anybody else that you think might be useful. And with that, you guys have a great day.